Hey everybody, it's John Halpin here with Josh Katzowitz. Welcome to another edition of Pickwatch Live. We're going to preview the Week 4 games. First thing you need to know is there's two byes this week. Panthers and Redskins are off. My home team here in Charlotte, Luke, is not going to be playing this weekend. But there's going to be 15 other games, and there's a lot of good ones. Josh, first game to start off with. This is the best Thursday. This might be the game of the year, let alone the Thursday night game of the year.
Yeah, I wrote about in my article, my weekly article, is that Thursday night games typically, for no matter what happens, it seems like they're always boring. The teams are uninterested because they're on such short rest. But the last week with the Browns getting that win was awesome to watch, and then this week with the Vikings and Rams on a Thursday night game, I mean, you can't start a week off better than that.
No, you can't. So this game tonight, we've got some injuries to deal with. The Vikings, Dalvin Cook, as far as I know, made the trip. We're doing this. You might be watching live on Facebook. If you're not, we're doing this 10 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. Dalvin Cook made the trip. They're hoping he's going to play. Everson Griffin, defensive end. There's some issues going on with Everson Griffin. We hope he's okay, but he's out for the Vikings. Rams might be down their two starting corners. Aqib Talib is on IR. Marcus Peters was 2 to 4 weeks, but then there was a report today that he was listed as questionable. As far as I know, he's going to be out. The Rams being without their corners means to me even more offensive fireworks, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, with the Vikings, it's hard to know what they are now. Going into last week, we thought, hey, this team is a Super Bowl contender. Mike Zimmer has done a great job in Minnesota. We like what that defense has done, and now it's all kind of thrown away with what happened with the Buffalo Bills. Now, maybe that's an anomaly. Maybe it speaks to a more of a problem in Minnesota than we thought. But you can't like Minnesota on a short after what happened last week with Buffalo. On a short week, traveling on the road to LA across the country, that's a really tough ask for them. I think I know that line's pretty big, but man, that's a really tough game for them.
Yeah, it's the way I'm looking at it. I see what you're saying. I keep looking at that game last week, and they lost a couple fumbles, and I keep thinking anomaly. I know they got their butts kicked, and in the beginning when you said I was joking around the other day with Ryan saying when it was 7-0, it was like, oh, that's so cute. The Bills got a touchdown, and then they got another field goal, then they got another touchdown, and it never got any better. You thought, well, time's running out for them to make a run in this game, and they never did. I tend to think that game was a fluke for the Vikings, and as much as I've been saying all along, I think the Rams might be one of these special teams that's going to roll people. Coming into the year, I thought these were the two elite teams in the NFC, them and the Eagles once they were healthy. I think 7's such a big number. And with the spread, I'm going to go with the Vikings, especially with those corners out, because I think Cousins, Diggs, and Thielen get back to work in this game with the Rams being shorthanded.
Yeah, no, I went Rams straight up Minnesota with the +7. What I don't like is Kirk Cousins. He's tied for the league in pass attempts. Do you really want him throwing 45 times a game? I don't. I don't think he's the guy that you want doing that. He's not a guy like Drew Brees who's going to be so effective doing that. So I think if you got to get that offense more balanced, hopefully get Dalvin Cook back and he can bring some of that balance to the team. If you got to rely on Kirk Cousins to throw 45, 50 times a game, it's going to be a long season.
See, I'm a bigger fan of Cousins than you are, but I see what you're saying. He's not an elite guy that you want to completely put everything on his shoulders.
He hasn't proven that yet. I mean, there are times that he looks elite, but he hasn't proven that consistently. He's got elite money, that's for sure. So, maybe at that point, hey, you pay him hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever. Make him throw that much, but I don't think it's good for the team.
All right, let's go through last week. We were both 9-7 straight up.
I want to go through last week.
You're out. Yeah, I was miserable. I was 6. At least you were 8-8. I was 6-10 against the spread. That was awful. And last week I said to you, I said there were probably 5 games that I said I have no idea what to do here, and I basically got them all wrong. And the only one that I switched one and got it right. I switched the Cowboys-Seahawks game. I switched late, like I said I might, to the Cowboys. So sorry, to the Seahawks, and I wound up being right. I would have been even worse. So I'm 500 for the season. You're 24, 23-1 because we picked games at different times one week. So we're both very established as mediocre right now, Josh. We got to do better.
Yeah, and you're straight up too. Straight up's been hard. I mean, I think I'm at like 60%. It's been the NFL season's been weird, and it's weird every year, but it seems weirder a little bit so far this year.
All right, folks, if you have any questions for us as the weekend approaches, I'm on Twitter at jhalpin37. Josh is at Josh Katzowitz. The main Pickwatch account is at Pickwatch. What to look for every week? We got our Tuesday show, we got our Thursday show, and I have a show at 11:45 Sunday morning. I've been doing that 15 games in 19 minutes is no easy feat, Josh, but I've been pulling it off every week.
You're always quick on the draw, John.
It is just like go, go, go. This game, this pick, guy hurt, done, next. So I'm rambling and speed talking through that one. But at least we go through the late inactives and things on Sunday morning. So it's hopefully helpful. You can also follow the picks at pickwatch.com. By the way, at pickwatch.com. Oh, Josh's column every week, which we're going to reference today, the fun game of the week, the game that scares the heck out of them, and the life savings game. On Pickwatch, what to look for. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now, what the picks look like. It's easier to see your picks at this point, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. We're going to do a little screen swap. Screen swap. It should have its own music, its own background music. There's the screen swap. You see that? So now that when you make your picks, it used to be that little green would be on the left side or the right side. Now your team is, I mean, it's kind of hard to miss that I picked the Rams in this game straight up here, right?
Last week, for my however many years I've been doing the Pickwatch, I've always had Sean has always thrown in my picks for me. And last week it's like, dude, just do it yourself. I said, okay. And last week I put my picks in, and it was so short, like the green part was so tiny. Yeah. I didn't even see it at first. I was like, well, what am I doing? What? And then I finally figured it out because eventually I'm not a moron. This week it was like, whoa, look at this thing. Now you can really see.
Yeah, you can really see. There's maybe a lot of I got a lot of the road teams here. So
God, you do have a lot of road teams.
Yeah, I do. All right. So we're going to stop the sharing that, but that's easier right now. That's an added benefit. I mean, constantly working behind the scenes to improve the site. Other things, the filters now have some extra capability. You can, if you want to hide people who haven't made picks yet, you can. If you want to do, let's say, hey, I only want to look at people who are above 65%, not us last week, but people can do that. You're highlighted better if you're logged in because you can see your picks easier. It's easy to find them without having to hunt for them. Also, the forums, we talked about those last week. They're coming very soon, so check it out. Starting next week, the week after. These are sort of cool cosmetic changes. The back end is going to get better. The site's going to keep improving. You just keep going to NFLPickwatch.com, and you're going to see some great stuff all the time. All right, let's go to the week 4 schedule, the rest of it. So Bills-Packers. I said the Vikings, I thought that was a fluke for the Vikings. I think it was a fluke for the Bills too. I'm not flinching and giving the 10.5 and taking the Packers.
No, not at all. I'm Packers 10.5 all the way. Packers haven't been great this year. Aaron Rodgers still kind of gimpy. The tie with the Vikings in week 2 and then losing the Redskins last week. I don't know if that was it was a bit of a hangover from the tie or what happened there. You're still kind of waiting for them to be like the Packers that we know.
Right.
Maybe this is a week for them to do that.
Yeah. Right now we've got, looking at the expert picks with the spread, 67% that are in so far. Remember, Thursday morning, a lot of people still aren't in. 67% of the picks have the Packers given the 10.5 points. Sounds like LaShawn McCoy is going to play for the Bills, which is good for them. Packers against the spread, last 6 games are 1-5. It's a little quirky thing there. If you want to go the other way and you're looking for reasons to justify the Bills, there you go. Next up, Patriots are at home against the Dolphins, favored by 7.5. Over-under is 47.5. So go figure. We've got the 1-2 Patriots hosting the 3-0 Dolphins. Hell has frozen over, Josh. It's
the history here is pretty crazy. This was my lead of my story, was talking about Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins, and the fact the Miami's gone 3-0 a couple times in the last 20 years, but they haven't started a season 4-0 since 1995. That was the last year that Don Shula was coaching. So, I mean, you're talking about a whole different era of the NFL when this happened. Ryan Tannehill is starting to play like a number 1 or a first-round pick. It's crazy. Because for so long you look at Ryan Tannehill and he's kind of on the cusp of being like that first-round bust. You're not really sure if he's going to be a guy who can lead that team to the promised land. I'm still not sure he can be that guy, but a guy who's in first place in the AFC East. I mean, think if they beat the Patriots, they're going to be 3 games up on the Patriots, 4 weeks in the season. That's going to be tough, I think, for New England to come back from if that happens.
And that's kind of why, it's where you try to do this sort of, logical analysis breakdown, whatever it might be. And then you look at this one, you go, the Patriots aren't going 1-3 and losing to the Dolphins, who are going to go 4-0. Come on. Like, I've seen this before, and the Patriots will figure it out. Maybe it's the end of the road. At some point for the Patriots, it's going to be the end of the road for them being elite. I feel like I need to see it to believe it, though.
Well, they haven't been good on offense. They're 25th in the league in points scored and yards gained. That's pretty unusual for them with a Tom Brady team. They're not getting a whole lot. You saw what happened last week with Gronk. I mean, the Lions double team him all game long, and they can't do anything in years past. I mean, New England, okay, Gronk's taken care of. let's go to somebody else. We'll go to Edelman, and they'll go to Edelman back, I think, next week. But we'll go to somebody else. We'll go to this guy. We'll go to that guy. They don't really have that guy yet. It's trying to figure – maybe, again, it's still early. Maybe Josh Gordon can be that guy. Right now, it's not looking great for the Pats. But, yeah, it's until we're proven otherwise, until we're saying – until the Pats start 1-6 or 1-7, it's still hard to say New England is not going to be in the playoff race. I mean, that's just – history doesn't show that. Bill Belichick always gets back in the playoff race.
Right. All right. So Josh Gordon's status as of Thursday morning, I don't know. We don't know. We'll see. If he does play, you'd have to think he'll be on some kind of limited, 25, 30 snaps. He's probably not going to go full.
Sorry to interrupt. How much does he help?
How much does he help? If he's fine, because it's weird. He missed most of camp.
Yeah.
So we don't know what we're going to get. I mean, he's a tremendously talented receiver. And last year, even though he only played a handful of games, he was fantastic. I mean, every corner that faced him said that's the best wide receiver I've faced all year. He's terrific. It's just a matter of what kind of game shape he's in. I couldn't even dream of answering that right now. It's
a matter of mental. I guess it's mentality too. I mean, getting out of Cleveland probably is a good thing since he's been there for so long, and it's just a new start. The Patriots still, have the ability. It seems like for a lot of guys to kind of resurrect them and get them in a whole different mind space. Maybe that works with Josh Gordon. But you're right. He's so inconsistent. Like on the field, not on the field, but off the field. You just don't know.
All right. So a couple of injury issues. The Dolphins are down 2 defensive ends. Andre Branch hurt his knee, and William Hayes actually tore his ACL, he says, by trying not to land all his weight on Derek Carr on a sack last week, which is terrible. You want to give people ammunition to hate that rule. There you go. But they're down 2 defensive ends. Could be a factor. To what I said earlier, I still feel like I need to see it to believe it as far as the Patriots running into the end of the road. With that said, the way they're playing, I don't want to give 7.5 points here. So I'm going to take the Dolphins against the spread.
What did I do? I think that sounds about – yeah, I did the same. I took the Dolphins against the spread.
All right. Expert-wise, we have got 58% Dolphins against the spread right now. Next up, Cowboys-Lions. Cowboys favored by 3.5. Over-under is 43.5. Sean Lee out for the Cowboys, which is a big deal. He's out a few weeks with a hamstring injury. They're just always a step down on defense, a noticeable step down when he doesn't play.
He's always injured.
He's always injured is right. That's the problem with Sean Lee. He's such a good player.
Every year, though.
He's not there. Right. Ziggy Ansah, shoulder injury for the Lions. We're not sure what his deal is. He's missed 2 games. We're not sure if he's going to miss a third. Okay. Remember I said last week I switched from the Seahawks to the Cowboys. I'm in the same place again. I can't figure out the Cowboys. Are they mediocre or bad? I don't think they're good, but I don't think the Lions are bad. And the Cowboys, I mean, they're offensively, they're inept. They can run a little, but otherwise they're just awful. Dak is no threat to throw downfield because he doesn't have the weapons, and he probably doesn't do it well anyway. The line's not as good. Without Lee, they're down. I think I want to go Lions here because the Cowboys they're kind of a mess.
Yeah, I definitely took. Well, and Dallas is 3.5 point favorite. Is that right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I went Lions straight up, and Lions obviously taking those 3.5 points. Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott is tied for the league lead in rushing. So, hey, he's good. No question about that. But, the team's 31st in points scored. Dak Prescott, he's not even at 500 yards thrown yet through 3 games. That's not good. It's you look at Dallas, and it's just, aside from Elliott, man, they don't have anybody on offense that scares you.
Nope.
And the Lions scare me, but for different reasons because they're so inconsistent. I mean, I'm always looking at Detroit as like, this is a team that can score 45 points a game. I mean, with Stafford, I have so much confidence in Stafford that he's a good quarterback. And obviously that doesn't work out a lot of the time, but I like the Lions here. They had a big win last week against the Patriots. It's got to help their confidence and everything else. They really did well against New England last week. I really like Detroit here. I don't like the Cowboys.
Okay. Yeah. Right now I have Lions against spread and Cowboys straight up, but I think I'm just going Lions all in.
Oh, you have Cowboys straight up. Okay.
Yeah. Just because I at home, I'm going, well, I mean, these are 2 teams that might be somewhat similar on a similar level.
I think Detroit has a lot more potential though.
Yeah, I think they do too. I love Galladay. I mean, they have 3 good receivers, but I love Galladay. He's just emerging as a really nice player right now. Okay. By the way, last 5 Cowboys games have gone under. Little statistical quirk there, if that means anything. This one's 43.5. All right, Bears and Bucks. So we've got Bears by 2, over under 46.5, which has gone, over under's gone down a little bit. a couple of points. I saw Bears -3 this morning elsewhere. So Dirk Cutter doesn't want to tell us who's playing quarterback this week. He's keeping us guessing. He's saying, I know who's going to play, but I'm not telling anybody. Like, what's this? This is nonsense, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they are different. I guess that works on some level because they are totally different quarterbacks, I guess. But I think, if you're Chicago, it seems pretty obvious who's going to start, right? It's got to be Fitz.
It's got to be Fitz. It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only quarterback to ever throw for more than 400 yards in 3 straight games. There's only been 2 quarterbacks who have thrown 400 yards in a game all year 4 times, and that was Marino and Peyton Manning. Ryan Fitzpatrick could do that this week, and he'd be an NFL record holder.
Right.
I don't see how you can face your team when Fitzpatrick has done so well this year and go, well, we're going to go back with Winston. I don't see how you can do that as a coach.
Right. I mean, I think it's going to happen soon, but I don't think it's going to happen this Sunday. And I think the Bears might accelerate that process by making Fitz look like Fitz, really. So
maybe this is a new Fitz, though. I mean,
no, it's not. He's 36 or whatever. It's not a new Fitz. It's Fitz.
No,
it's the same guy.
Same guy with Chester.
Yeah.
And but you know what? He's got swagger. I don't know if I've never seen him with this much swagger. That I think on some level that plays a role. That kind of confidence. Eventually he's going to come to earth. He's got to come back down to earth. But maybe for a while with that kind of confidence, and if his team has belief in him, they can go far, man. I mean, who would expected Tampa Bay to be doing this well, already?
I agree. I mean, he threw 3 picks last week, so we saw signs, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But he routed him too. He kind of came back from that.
The Bucks, 3 of their defensive tackles were limited Wednesday's practice. Again, early in the week, we're not sure what's going to happen there, but they might be a little gimpy. This of all the games on the slate, this one jumped out at me more than any other one. I looked at this spread. I went, oh my God, the Bears are such an obvious pick here. Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, I went Bears -2, Bears straight up. I guess I don't really live Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, you know what? That's that defense, and I do think at some point they're gonna have to come back down to earth. And the Bears have played well. I mean, they're looking as a contender in the NFC North, and this is a game they're going to need to do well in and to kind of keep that trajectory going the right way. They have a chance, with the way Green Bay's played, the way Detroit's played, really, inconsistent. With what happened last week with the Vikings, I mean, this is a real opportunity for Chicago.
Yep, I agree. I think they're a good team. Right now, we've got 58% of the experts giving the 2 points and taking the Bears. By the way, that Cowboys-Lions, 55% Lions, so I didn't mention that earlier. Okay. Next, we've got Texans-Colts. Colts are favored by 1.5 at home, so it's a pretty even game. The Colts have been kind of solid. If we thought they were a bad team, I think the general consensus on them to start the year was that they were probably a bad team, bottom quarter or something. They haven't been that. They've been fun. I mean, they had that nice win at Washington. Whatever you think of the Redskins, they had a nice win there. First game against the Bengals was at home. They lost, but it was a close game. Last week was a close game. Like they've been, I don't know about scrappy if that's the right word necessarily, but they've been fine. And the Texans they've just a mess, these guys. I mean, that game that was an embarrassing performance against the Giants for them.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Houston. I picked the Giants. I picked Houston to win that game. And I thought Houston would really get healthy. And J.J. Watt actually did get healthy. J.J. Watt had a great game for Houston. But you have to wonder, does Bill O'Brien just not have the answers in Houston? I mean, they've been in close games. They've lost by a total of 15 points in their 3 losses, but they start games awful, and it doesn't look like they have any passion out there, and that's a reflection on the coaching staff. And if you can't get healthy against the Giants last week, I don't know, man. I think it's a tough, and it's not like that division is all that good,
right?
I mean, Jacksonville, I guess, is good, but they could make some noise there, but I don't know, man. Maybe it just falls on Bill O'Brien. He's had a couple years, man. Maybe it's time for him to start figuring some stuff out.
So they had some injury. I mean, they've had some injuries in the defensive backfield. Watt seems like he's getting back into being what he was, but defensive backfield injuries. They've had some offensive line injuries. The receivers play well. Will Fuller's actually playing pretty well. So now they've got 2 good receivers, it looks like, not just one. Watson's been – I do a lot of fantasy. Watson's definitely where fantasy and reality diverge for me, I think. I think fantasy-wise, he's terrific. Real life, I'm not so sure with him yet. He makes some great plays and he makes some bad decisions. I mean, that game, the decision, we talked about this when the clock ran out I think, against the Titans at the end of the game when he was running around for, 15 seconds and then threw the ball over the middle, but with no timeouts. It was just horrendous. So this is one of those, the desperate team game for me. I know it's on the road, but they're 0-3. I mean, basically their season is over if they lose this game to the Colts. Dead over.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Colts, because they're just okay, that the Titans might step up in this one. I'm going to pick them to win.
The Texans, you mean?
The Texans. Sorry. Thank you.
No.
No?
Nah,
All right.
I don't see it. I think you put so much, it seems like every week you look at, Deshaun Watson, you look at Houston and say, okay, this team could be really good. But the last week really kind of put a pin in the balloon for me. I don't buy it anymore. I think the Texans can be really, really bad. And then you're going to have new head coach. I think they're going to get rid of Bill O'Brien at some point.
Yeah. I mean, if this doesn't turn around, you're right. They're going to.
He's had a pretty good amount of time,
Mm-hmm. He sure has. People are with you. The experts so far, 75% Colts. So my desperate team theory is not going over with anybody else except me.
But who knows, man? The NFL has been weird this year. I mean,
I
the
know.
Texans could come out and score 45 points and win 45-7, and who would be that surprised?
And I could go 12-4 one week against the spread and 6-10 the next. Who knows, right?
I don't think you're going 12-4 again.
Who knows? All right. Oh, no, was I 10-6? I don't know what. I think it was 12-4. Eagles, Titans. We've got it at Eagles by 3. Over under 41. The line, I saw in Bovada for 4.5 this morning. So, I would jump all over 4.5 with the Titans. I mean, the Eagles have been – the Eagles, the running backs are still hurt. They missed practice Wednesday. I wouldn't be too hopeful at this point about them. Sounds like Alshon Jeffrey's going to play, which is good for the Eagles. That helps. The Titans, they're going to get their right tackle back, Conklin. That's important. Their first week they were without both of the tackles, and now I think they've got them both back. The Eagles are struggling though on offense. I mean, understandably, there's a lot of injuries. Wentz is all right now. It's his second week back. He was fine last week.
Yeah,
he's going to get Jeffrey, but he was still down Wallace. Jeffrey, we don't know how good he's going to be the first week back. They're down a couple of running backs. They're just, they're kind of struggling along. They're going to get it done to a point. I mean, I don't think they're going to be bad, but I think the Titans are still a pretty solid team. And I think last week they showed it. That was a nice win for them at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to take this one.
Their offense still is just not good. I mean, they didn't win that game because they had a great offense against Jacksonville. They had a good defense. And, I think Carson Wentz does cure a lot of problems for them. And he was able to get some other people involved. And Wendell Smallwood had a nice game last week. 56 yards on 10 carries, the touchdown, caught a couple passes. Dallas Goedert, their second-round pick, had 7 catches for 73 yards and a TD. So that, they're missing their main kind of guys who run that team, Sproles and Ajayi, and Jeffrey. And Aguilar didn't play that well last week, or didn't have a whole lot of production last week. So I think Carson Wentz has kind of been able to make hay out of some not ideal situations, at least with some injury. So that kind of encourages me that they were able to kind of find a workaround, even if they're missing all these guys. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm still not sold on Mariota, not 100% with that elbow injury. Blaine Gabbert's out with a concussion, which probably is a better thing for the Tennessee anyway, really. But yeah, I don't believe in Tennessee. I think if the Eagles start scoring some points early, it's going to be a tough one for Tennessee to come back in.
All right, I'm going with Tennessee. I thought coming into the year that they were let's say a playoff team. And in a home game against an Eagles team that's probably still less than 100%, especially if it's 4.5, I'm happy to take those points.
But it's 3 though, right? That's what we said.
We got it at 3 on the site right now. Yes.
You know what's funny? I do have Tennessee plus 3. It's funny. I do these picks like 2 days in advance, so I can't remember what I picked. Everything. So actually, I took the Eagles straight up, but I took Tennessee at plus 3. I may have to change that. I'm not sure I believe what I just wrote. I mean, what I originally picked, I may have changed that.
We are at expert-wise, we were at 75% Titans in the early going here.
Oh, then I'll keep it the same then. That's fine.
Keep it the same? You go against everybody? Or are you with everybody?
No, I'm with everybody.
All right. Falcons, Bengals. Falcons favored by 5.5 at home. Over-under is 52.5. I've seen 6. I've seen 5. We've now got 5.5. The Falcons are down both their starting safeties. A couple other defensive backs were limited on Wednesday. One of the backup were now starting safeties and one of the corners. The Falcons are just so banged up. And I think their games are going to, we saw last week what the result of that might be, and that might be some shootout games with the Falcons. So, yeah, and I think they're capable of doing that, so fine for them. I mean, not ideal because the guys they're missing were, their defense is based on speed and being able to chase, I mean, Deion Jones getting injured and Keanu Neal, those were sort of those hybrid linebacker safety. At least Deion Jones is a hybrid linebacker safety type and, can chase people over the middle. And I think speed teams are going to, like Gio Bernard, I think, poses problems for them this week because he's a back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. And that's kind of an interesting matchup for them right now. I think this spread, I think the Bengals are good. The game against the Panthers last week, no shame in the way they lost. They played fine. And I think that I think this number is a little big for 5.5, 6, whatever it is, for the Falcons to be favored over them.
I went with the Falcons at 5.5. I just like that offense a lot. They've really played well the last couple of weeks there. I like Matt Ryan. He's done some good things. And for me, it's a lot of it is about Andy Dalton in Cincinnati. Can he take advantage of the Falcons' injuries in the secondary? I mean, he's kind of doing his Andy Dalton thing. He throws 4 TDs in week 2. He throws 4 picks last week against Carolina. You're never really sure what you're going to get out of him. I don't have a hard time putting faith in the Bengals at all. And I think, it's going to be the Falcons are going to have to win with shootouts, but I think they can. And I'm not sure the Bengals can – I don't know if the Bengals can keep up with them.
Okay. Right now we've got, expert-wise, 55% Bengals against the spread, but straight up we've got 77% Falcons. So I feel like I have the conventional wisdom is with me. That doesn't make it right. But that's the, people – I think that number is scaring people away from taking the Falcons. But, you could make some hay by going the other way like Josh is.
Can I tell you the last time the Bengals won in Atlanta, 1987. Yeah.
Wow.
But they've only played there 4 times in the past
4 times, right?
It doesn't mean anything. But I thought that was kind of funny.
And back for a while, the Bengals weren't beating anybody anywhere. So
that's true. In the 80s, the Falcons weren't beating anybody anywhere either. So
that's true. Jags Jets. Jags favored by. Okay, we've got this spread at 9. I saw it 7.5. Early in the week, I saw 7.5. It's 7.5 in Bovada right now. We've got it at 9. Over under 38.5. Leonard Fournette. We said this last week, but it sounds like Leonard Fournette's going to play. Sam Darnold on the road against the Jags defense sounds a little frightening to me.
Yeah, I mean, he looked real bad against Cleveland on the road last week. He hasn't, I mean, it's early in his career, but he hasn't proven in week 1, he played well on the road. So, but against
Detroit.
Against Detroit. Yeah, so I don't know. He's come back to earth a little bit in the last couple of games, 1 TD, 4 picks in the last 2 games. So that's when it's going to happen when you have these rookie quarterbacks. I like the Jets at +9, like we have them. If the line's 7.5, like it is elsewhere, I think I like the Jags. So I think it's somewhere in that range is the right range. But at +9, I like the Jets. At 7.5, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think the Jags are good enough on offense. I don't think the Jets are a bad team. I think they're, I use this. They're sort of okay. They're not an extreme, right? I think they're in the middle. I think they're on the lower middle of the pack somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
And the Jags, their offense isn't good enough to be favored by that many points.
No.
I wonder if people out generally.
Maybe Fournette maybe could make that difference if he's healthy and looks good. That's a difference maker right there. But that's unclear if he's gonna. I mean, he'll probably play, but it's unclear how effective he'll be.
All right, so I'm Jags straight up, Jets against the spread.
Yep, me too.
All right, right now we have got 75% of the picks that are in on the experts have Jags giving the 9.
Yeah.
So no one.
I wonder what it would be at 7. If it was 7.5, I wonder what that would be.
I agree. It'd be more, right? All right, Seahawks, Cardinals. Seahawks are favored by 3 at Arizona. Spreads over under 38.5. Josh Rosen gets his first start. He came in relief at the end of last week's game for the Cardinals. Gets his first NFL start. Larry Fitz didn't practice Wednesday. Think he's going to be fine to play. See, this is one I talk about. I do the desperate team thing in the early season, but I mean the Cardinals just might be horrendously awful.
It was interesting doing some research. Steve Wilkes, Arizona's coach, said after practice yesterday on Wednesday that it was a great practice. Everybody was full of energy. Everybody was getting after it. And he said that was because of Josh Rosen. And who knows whether that's true or not. Maybe if that translates over to the game, maybe that'll help. I thought it was kind of, I mean, it was a little unfair, but they did last week, throwing him in there at the end of the game, trying to, lead the Cardinals to a last-second victory. He obviously didn't do that. But now with a full week of preparation, it's going to, it gives them the best chance to kind of move forward with Rosen instead of Sam.
Yeah, I do think the on the bright side for the Cardinals in this game, it's not like the Seahawks are good. Their defense has actually held up better than I thought it would after all the departures. Bobby Wagner didn't practice Wednesday, I don't think, so we're going to have to watch his status too. But I don't know. I'm going to take the Seahawks, but I'm not feeling great about it. This isn't a game I would seek out to try to make a bet on,
No, Russell Wilson's the most sacked quarterback in the league too. That's not good.
Right.
Looking at my picks, I have Arizona straight up and Arizona -3. Is it? No, I'm sorry. It'd be +3. I don't love that pick. I would seriously consider changing that. This is a game that I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, the Cardinals are at home, so that's helpful. Seahawks don't always play well on the road. Seahawks aren't that good. This is a really hard one.
Yeah, I agree with you because I have the Seahawks, and I'm with you that I could change. I don't know.
You know what though? It's like you could change it, and I could change mine, but it's not going to make me feel any better.
Right. I'm really curious
like it is.
More of Rosen because having grown up a Giants fan, and I wanted them to draft a quarterback this year. Rosen was the guy I wanted. Like I wasn't screaming for Darnold. I wanted Rosen because I thought he was the best passer. So I'm really curious to see how he starts playing for the Cardinals. Man, I don't think he's being thrown into a great situation, to be honest with you, for not just because they're not a good team, but because the line's not that great, and he's in a bit of a tough spot. And other than Fitz, who's more of an intermediate, an underneath route guy at this point, not a lot of deep threats. I wonder if everybody likes when the rookie quarterback gets promoted, everybody gets all over here's the rookie wide receiver, here's the second string wide receiver he's been working with all the time. Yeah. When he's not taking first team reps, and Christian Kirk, their rookie running receivers. This is going to be a great pairing. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going Seahawks for now. But again, this is not one I would be looking for. This one I'm looking for. Browns Raiders. Raiders are favored by 2 at home over the Browns. I've seen 3. Bovada has 3. Baker Mayfield gets his first start at Oakland. Browns are 3-0 against the spread, everybody, by the way. Okay, look, I loved the Baker Mayfield show last week as much as everybody else did. And I think he's going to be a good player. And I have thought all along that the Browns are kind of a solid team. Let's say a 7-win type of team. They're on the road with a rookie quarterback here,
Going across country, all the way across country.
Yeah, this is not an easy spot for him at all.
No, and the Raiders are 0-3, but they've played better, I think. I think they played better than a lot of people have said that they played. I mean, they were very tight with the Broncos. They played Dolphins last week pretty close. They played with the Rams for the first half in week 1. So it hasn't kind of come together for Oakland yet, but I think this is a game at home versus the Browns and a rookie quarterback like you talked about. I think this is a real chance for them to get that win. I like Oakland a lot here. I think if it was Oakland -5, I think I'd still take that.
Right. I agree with you. I like Oakland. 82% of the experts like Oakland, by the way. So, I like the Browns. I just don't like them here. So, all right, Saints, Giants. Giants favorite. Giants getting 3 at home. Over-unders 50.5. Giants going to be without Evan Ingram. Knee injury probably for a few weeks. They might get Olivier Vernon back, which is huge for them. He might be their best defensive player. So that's a big one. The Saints are going to be down another corner. Basically, the Saints defense, I don't know. I've been saying for 3 weeks, hey, after the first game against the Bucs, hey, the defense is not so bad. They'll rebound, and they just haven't. I guess against the Browns, they weren't bad. But across from Lattimore, the corners opposite Lattimore have just been getting, killed. And now they're down another corner. I don't know what to make of the Saints defense, and now I'm doubting my theory that they're going to turn things around.
Well, they obviously have the offensive firepower to kind of overcome a lot, which we saw last week in Atlanta. And they've shown, and even in week 1, I think they scored 40 points in week 1 in that loss. So that's something to kind of be optimistic about. That you don't want to rely on the New Orleans to always score 40 points a game, but that there's that capability. They've shown 2 of the 3 past week they can score 40+ points a game. I think this may be a week where New Orleans gets a little better on defense. They've been good against the run. They only allow a little over 3 yards per carry. I think it's 3.05 yards per carry against opposing running backs. So Saquon Barkley is obviously that's going to be a real test for New Orleans. If they can kind of shut down Saquon Barkley a little bit, make the Giants offense more one-dimensional, then you have to rely on Eli Manning, which we've seen in the past couple of years. That's not usually a great recipe for New York. So I think if New Orleans can kind of keep Saquon Barkley in check and make Eli Manning beat them, they're going to be in a better position. At the same time, though, New Orleans' pass defense has been awful. So maybe this is a game for Eli Manning to do well. It's really kind of hard to know.
Yeah, I think this has got a bit of a – I don't know about shootout, but 27-24, something like that. I think the over-under is right. It seems about right for me. I'm going to take the Saints.
Yeah, what did I pick? Yeah, I took the Saints -3 also. Yeah, I tell you what, I think the Giants are going to have to score more than 24 points or more than 27 points to win this game. And I'm not confident that's going to happen.
And I can see this one go – this is another one. I can see it going the other way. I mean, I'm fine taking the Saints, but I can see it going the other way. It wouldn't shock me if it went the other way with the Giants playing at home. So right now we've got expert-wise 67% on the Saints in this one, given the 3 points. 49ers Chargers. Interesting. You're going to have to – it depends on where you get your point spread here. We've got it over under 46.5, but the point spread, we've got it at 9.5 Chargers. I saw Bovada 10.5 Chargers. That's a big swing right there. So depending on which side you want, actually, whichever side you want, make sure you know what number you're getting because it could make a big difference. Jimmy Garoppolo done for the season. CJ Beathard is going to start at quarterback. 49ers also without Richard Sherman. Calf injury. Matt Breida, their running back, was limited on Wednesday. I'm not sure about him. Chargers still without Boza. Is this your gut reaction when you see Garoppolo go out, and Beathard was not so good last year when he played? You go, oh no, this team's going to nosedive. But their defense has been better. Like, is this are the Niners? I don't think the Niners are going to make the playoffs or anything. Are they just dead in the water and destined for 3-13 after this injury, or are they going to be respectable?
I think they're dead.
Okay.
CJ Beathard. What's good about CJ Beathard coming in is that he has some experience. I think he started 5 games last year. I think he played in 7 overall.
Right.
So hey, if you're not talking like a Sam Darnold situation or a Josh Allen situation or a Josh Rose situation where they're just kind of being thrown in with no experience. So that's a positive. Now he didn't play great, so who knows what that says also. I just it's such a pinprick, man. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo was like seen as their guy. He's their savior. He's going to be the guy who turns around their franchise, and he's out again with injury, and you're like, oh man, this is. I just think from a mental standpoint, it can't be easy for San Francisco. On defense, the 49ers haven't held a team to less than 24 points yet this year. I think this is a game for Phillip Rivers just to go off, go 400 plus yards, really get LA back kind of in the game. I think San Francisco is. It was early in the season, but man, I think they're done.
I think with 9.5, I'm going to take the Chargers too. I think the silver lining here. I was talking about the defense. Yards per play on defense, the Niners are middle of the pack. Like I said, I think they're sort of they have put a lot of draft capital in the defensive line over the last few years, and I think some of those guys are getting better. Buckner seems to be the one that has stood out in the first few weeks. They played, as far as the stats go, they played the Chiefs last week, which kind of might skew everybody's stats this year when they play them, especially early on. I'm going to take the Chargers and lay the points, but I haven't given up on the Niners. Let's put it that way. So maybe
I put so much stock in quarterback and how he can play, and I haven't seen anything from Beathard to give me any kind of indication that they're going to be in any kind of playoff hunt. I mean, they could go 3-13 and just be awful. I really think that.
All right, 75% Chargers against the spread from the experts.
That's a big spread. So you're talking a lot of people like that big spread.
Yes, absolutely. Sunday night, Ravens-Steelers. Ravens getting 3 at Pittsburgh. Over-under 48.5. I said to Ryan Tuesday morning, remember when Ravens-Steelers games were 13-10 and bloody cold? And now it's 48.5 because all the Steelers do is just throw and their defense is bad. It's just hilarious to me. It's still a great rivalry, but it's completely different than it used to be. The Ravens think they're going to get CJ Mosley back, which is a huge deal. I don't know. The Ravens are one of those teams. I probably got 5 or 6 teams that I'm not sure what they are. The Ravens are one of them. But I know what I think Steelers are. I think they're a good offense and a bad defense. Yeah, but I think at home, This game looks to me like, toss up. I'll take the home team.
You take the home team. You took the Steelers.
Yes.
This was my "this game scares the hell out of me" pick in my weekly column, and the more I read, the more I kind of did research, and the more I wrote about it, I actually got kind of confident that Baltimore was gonna win, and and get that +3 and win straight up. Pittsburgh's defense is just so terrible, and like we saw last week, that if they can get that offense going and get more of a shootout, then that's going to be okay for Pittsburgh. But I think Baltimore is just not going to let that happen. I think Joe Flacco has been good this year too. I mean, at least by Joe Flacco standards, he's been really good this year. If they can get that rushing game in gear, which hasn't been great, then I think the Baltimore is going to do well. And we've seen Pittsburgh's offense not play well this year, so this could be one of those games where their defense is terrible and Big Ben doesn't do much, and it's going to be a tough game for Steelers to win.
All right, I've got the screen share up here. 67% Steelers right here.
Okay.
With spread, so take that.
What's the straight up on that?
Straight up is 81% Steelers.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
well, I'm in the minority then.
Steelers are popular. All right,
it's a tough game. Those AFC North rivalries are really tough, and maybe it will turn out to be I wouldn't be shocked if it turned out to be a 10-7 game, just because no matter how high powered those offenses are, there's still that AFC North rivalry. It always seems to go back to that tough defensive 13-10 game.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be 30-27, but we'll see. All right, last game, Chiefs-Broncos. Chiefs favored by 5 at Denver. Over under 55.5, just like every Chiefs game is going to be between 55 and 60. The Broncos defense has not been your typical Broncos defense so far. It's been all right, which is not great for them. I mean, the quarterback play has improved for them, which is good. It's another one. It's not great, but considering the depths it was at last year, it's better. Chiefs might be without their linebacker D Ford, who hurt his groin last week. Are we going to Denver is always an interesting proposition. It's one of those tougher than usual road games they have to play. One of those tougher environments, the altitude and all that. I look at this one and I go, I love the Chiefs offense, but their defense is really bad. So I'm not willing to make them some unstoppable juggernaut of a team like the Rams are, because the Rams are loaded on defense and the Chiefs kind of stink at it.
Yeah. I agree. Patrick Mahomes has played lights out, but how long can that last for? It's kind of the same thing as Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though they're on the opposite ends of the age spectrum. At some point, we know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is, so we know he's going to come back to earth. We don't really know what Patrick Mahomes is, if he can be a top 5 quarterback. Maybe he can't. Maybe he is a top 5 quarterback, and we just don't know. We don't have enough kind of data to know that. It's going to be a good test for him going to Detroit. Now he's played well on the road. And this is their 3rd road game in 4 weeks. So, played well in LA, played well obviously in Pittsburgh. So he can play on the road. We know that. I like the Chiefs here, but I like Chiefs straight up. But I do like the Broncos at +5.
I'm with you, exactly with you. We've got right now, the expert was 81% Chiefs straight up, but 75% Broncos against the spread. So, yeah, it's too big. You can't give that many points in Denver unless it's some superb team, and we're not sure that's what the Chiefs are yet. They're great on offense. I mean, I'm in on Mahomes. I think he's terrific. Just on the defensive side of the ball, they're not good at all.
Right.
And even the Broncos are going to be able to score on them in this one.
And that offense has been okay. I mean, Denver's offense has been okay. I mean, Keenum's thrown a bunch of interceptions, which obviously isn't ideal, but he obviously hasn't been as good as last year. But I still think he's a pretty decent quarterback. So I like Denver. I like Denver's offense more than I did last year for sure. It's a close one. But yeah, going at home, and getting 5, I like that.
All right. By the way, you talked about your fun game of the week, which is Rams-Vikings. We talked about this Chiefs offense. Week 11, Mexico City, Rams-Chiefs. Mark your calendar, man. That is going to be awesome.
It's going to be like a 52-35 Rams win, I think. You're
going to have so many people the next day going online going, oh, it's like flag football. This is terrible. I can't watch this. I'm going to look 52-35. Count me in.
What a great international game, though. That, I mean, to have
Yeah.
that international, I mean, if you want to grow that base in Mexico, that's a really good way to do it.
That's a great one. It's going to be entertaining as hell, man. That's going to be awesome. All right. So your most popular ones, by the way, against the spread is we got 82% Raiders. That's the big one. Otherwise, 75% of the pickers. And remember, we're early. Titans, Colts, Jags, Chargers, Broncos, all 75% against the spread. Josh, your article's up on Pickwatch right now. Everybody should check it out. What else are you working on?
Well, I'm taking my 8-year-old kids, I had twins, to their first like big rock/pop show this weekend. You know what it is? Can you guess?
Rock/pop.
Well, it's pop. It's not rock. Let's say it's pop.
I was going to say Imagine Dragons or something.
It's a good guess, but no. Taylor Swift in Houston, Texas.
Nice.
That's what I got working on right now. And I need to work to pay off those tickets. I need to work full-time for NFL Pickwatch.
Right. You need to work, and you need to gamble on the picks that you made and make money.
That's right. That's true.
Right. See?
Put my money on the Raiders at minus 2.
Yeah, you're here to make picks. You're here to research these games, wager, and fund your endeavors with your kids. I think this is this is what we're telling everybody to do, right? This is why we're here, to help people go win money and take their kids to the Taylor Swift concert.
Absolutely.
All right, well, have fun with that one. That sounds great.
That'd be good. It's the more, my daughter's really into it, the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, and I'm a rock metal guy, punk guy. But more so like, okay, yeah, this is catchy, man. I'll watch this for 2 hours. That'll be fine. It's
definitely catchy. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. There's definitely some guys looking at us right now going, oh, Taylor Swift sucks.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and get her on the podcast for next week. Have her sitting right here next to me. Have her make some picks.
If you get her and she has to replace me, I will not be offended. All right. I would take I would step aside for Taylor Swift being on the Pickwatch show next week on Pickwatch.
I wonder if our users would go up with that. Even if she doesn't know what she's talking about with football, it wouldn't matter.
I think they'd be all over it. So, I mean, more people would tune in to see her than to see me, I think.
Oh, she could host this thing by herself and it would go to the roof.
Yeah, totally. So Sean, be ready for that to happen. Taylor Swift might replace me next week. All right, folks, check us out on Twitter. Like I said, at jhalpin37. He is at Josh Katzowitz, and the main account is at Pickwatch. You can also find us on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. Remember, this show, so we've done about 50 minutes, right? Well, what happens here is that later on Thursday, we edit so that if you don't want to watch the show, you just want to watch, let's say, the Chargers-Niners discussion or the Vikings-Rams discussion, we edit those couple of minutes each. So if you just want to, look at specific games, whether it's all at once or just, look at one and leave, or just look at them all over the course of the weekend at different times, you can do that. So please check it out. That's going to be all for today's edition of Pickwatch Live. Remember, 11:45 a.m. Sunday Eastern on Facebook. I'll be there talking about the latest news. Until then, like I said, tweet Josh, tweet me. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. For Josh Katzowitz, I'm John Halpin. Thanks for watching.